This episode of Empty Betters is brought to you by DraftKings. The NBA 82 game grid is done, and now the real fun begins. The NBA playoffs are here, and it's time for the high stakes drama, clutch moments, and jaw dropping plays. I can't wait. If you're looking to make the playoffs even more exciting, DraftKings Sportsbook has you covered as an official sports betting partner of the NBA. Try placing a bet on your favorite player's performance. Will they drop 30 points, 40 or more? It's your call. Here's something special for first timers. New DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/ftball. NFL Plus Premium offer available only to new and former NFL Plus subscribers. Additional NFL Plus Premium terms at nfl.com/terms.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome back to episode 267 of Empty Betters. I'm your host, Harrison Scholes, and I'm going to toss it across the screen to my co-host, Nick Manella. What's going on?
What's going on, boys? It's been a couple weeks. Glad to be back. We got a lot to catch up on, and it's the best time of year. Stanley Cup final time.
For sure. Some crazy schedules for the boys over the past couple of weeks. But luckily, we actually didn't have to record during what was probably the most boring conference finals in NHL history. We'll very, very briefly talk about that, but most of this episode will be previewing the Stanley Cup final rematch that we have on tap. But before we get to all the fun, my other co-host, Mr. Mac Vogel.
Yeah, boring it was. And I mean, honestly, I think it's just a testament of why we so desperately need to go back to 1 through 8 so that playoff series and playoff rounds get more interesting as we go along and not less interesting. But all that to be said, I'm one of the people that is very excited about this rematch for the Cup final. I know a lot of people are kind of like, oh, damn, we got the same two teams as last year. I think it's great. I think it was a fantastic final last year, one of the best ones we've had in ages, and I expect it to be another barn burner of a series. So I'm pumped.
Picks and predictions coming to you later this episode.
Indeed.
I have absolutely no idea which way that's going to go. So we're calling on a little liquid decision making to make this call for me. So by the end of the episode, I will have formulated something for you boys.
Well, before we get to the Stanley Cup finals, I just would like to ask you guys, is the conference finals just useless? Because I feel like for the last 3 seasons in this show's history, usually I'm at the Outer Banks. Usually I'm falling asleep on the couch by 9, not because I'm a grandpa, which I am, but because the games suck. And that just felt like both series ended in 5 games. They really weren't like close at any point, really. I mean, Dallas kind of shit the bed. Carolina shit the bed. Like, is this the worst conference finals in ever? Maybe.
I don't know about ever, but it was pretty lame. I'm not gonna lie. As like a neutral third party, other than wanting the Canes to lose, I mean, yeah, that kind of sucked. And I know that there's going to be people that hate the fact that I'm saying that, but it wasn't a good product. Mac makes a great point. Like this is the reason why you do 1 through 8. I think you look at what the NHL did with setting up like these two monster teams to meet in the second round. They did it for Sid and Ovi. We all know that that's why they did that. And it worked to their credit. Like every time
Yeah.
those guys met, one of them went on to win the Stanley Cup. So I think you got your money's worth out of it. Now I think you got to go back to 1 through 8.
Yeah, I agree. I just think I mean, look at how many amazing first round matchups we've had in the last half a dozen years or however far you want to go back. But, a ton of those could have been an excellent conference final, when you've got
Yeah.
teams like, I mean, even freaking LA and Edmonton, I think could have been an awesome conference final. or any of the
Colorado,
time. Yeah,
Dallas.
exactly. Any of those. Vegas has had a lot of hard opponents in the first round last couple of years, that kind of stuff. So would love to see it go back, but I don't think it'll happen anytime soon.
It's pretty insane that like when you look at the teams that are in the finals and you look at the teams who gave them the biggest fight, LA had Edmonton down 2-0, and they even had them down what 3-1 in game 3 before everything fell apart. And then you look at
Series,
the
yeah, series could have been 3-1 with that Byfield empty netter.
and then you look at the East and it's like Toronto really gave Florida the best bang for their buck. And that's another series that they blew. It's like holy crap.
Yeah, it's sort of like when the Jackets went up 2-0 on the Caps and then took them to double overtime in game three. It's like, hey, you get a lucky bounce there. That series is over. Caps are going home. But
And they're trading everybody and firing everybody.
literally,
It's wild how that works. I know that there was a little bit of controversy, maybe generating a lot of chatter from NHL fans in both conference finals matchups. We're talking mostly about the Paul Maurice handshake comments, and then DeBoer yanking Ottinger and some of his post season comments after everything, all the dust settled. I don't know if you boys have any opinions you want to share on either matter. If you want to hop right into the finals preview.
yeah, it's interesting that both of these series kind of mirrored each other and both how much they sucked, and then the fact that we have to talk about their coaches after the fact. I think to me, out of those two, the more interesting, telling, confusing situation is DeBoer. The guy has sort of been regarded as one of the best coaches in the NHL, and then seemingly out of nowhere decides to just throw his goalie under the bus. And guys, I don't necessarily think that was all Jake Ottinger's fault by any means. Was it his best game? No, absolutely not. Do you need to get him out of there? Probably. I think you got to go for broke and take the cartridge out and blow on it and put it back in and see if something works. But to then after the game sort of like double down on it and throw him under the bus again, and that just doesn't really sit right with me. Even if that's how he felt, you don't really see hockey coaches do that. You don't see hockey players do that. I don't know if you guys have seen the clip, but there's one where I think it's to start the third. DeBoer and Ottinger are like walking by each other on their way back to the bench. Ottinger's coming out with like the baseball cap and nothing between them. Not a word, not a fist bump, not a handshake, nothing. And part of me was like, oh, is that just because he's, upset about being pulled? Like, hey, I would be like that too. I'd be like, get out of my face, leave me alone. But yeah, I mean, to double down on it and say the things he said after the game, I don't know. I mean, let me ask you this. Who did like if you're Dallas, if you're the GM, it's like what's the easier one to fix there? Get a new goalie or get a new coach? Because
Right.
yeah, that's a no-brainer to me.
Yeah, it's not a good look. And like you said, Nick, it's so weird because a round before that, everyone's talking about what a goat DeBoer is, his record in game sevens and all that. And now all of a sudden you're like, should they fire this guy? I
Yeah.
mean, it's crazy how you can spin it that quickly. I do want to I want to read a tweet. I had to go back a little bit to find this because it was literally tweeted like right after Ottinger got pulled. But this is one of my favorite Heat Daddy tweets in a while. He hit us with the pulling Ottinger after a power play goal on a breakaway was crazy. No, I don't like that move at all, but also I'm just a guy on a couch eating cheese and crackers, and I have three different types of cheeses, and also I might get buffalo wings too. Who gives a fuck?
Yeah,
Sounds about right.
yeah,
Pretty good way to sum it up, eh?
yeah.
It is pretty crazy how quick that turned. I think I'm going all off memory, no stats, but I'm just been consuming so much NHL content here. DeBoer has made the Western Conference Finals in 6 of the last 7 seasons, and then he made sure to point out in his post-game presser that Ottinger had lost 6 of his last 7 games
That's
to
a
Edmonton.
that's the
Yeah,
craziest part to me. I can't
yeah.
I can't wrap my head around that.
I don't get like I can understand being upset, frustrated. No one likes losing. No one likes getting dog walked in a game like that. But I mean, it just seems like it's sort of really misdirected here. Unless I'm
Yeah.
totally missing something. I mean, unless like Ottinger told him to like, go fuck himself in the locker room or something. And even then, it doesn't add up.
You said S my C, Jackie.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, and the other thing too is like, he pulls him what, 3 minutes into the game, if that. Like
Yeah.
the Stars didn't give him any support whatsoever.
Dude,
It was a
where the
pretty
hell was the defense, man? Like there was nothing
Also,
there.
like, here's the thing. Maybe you make a move like that in like a game two or like a game three where you're down 2-0 and you don't want to go down 3-0. It's just not it doesn't do anything positive for you to pull him in a game seven because like I, it just doesn't make enough sense. If you're pulling a goalie, you're trying to get a spark out of your group, and that's what he said too. You're not going to like if anything, you're just showing your team. You're like, hey, by the way,
yeah,
our best goalie, like our best guy, is not going to play the rest of the game. Like
yeah. It's a little
It's
I
odd.
sort
don't
of
see
the
the logic.
opposite of what Winnipeg did. You know, they get to game seven against St. Louis. Hellebuck
Yeah,
gives up two really shaky one early on, and that coaching staff and Scott Arniel are like, nope, you know what? We're gonna ride this
and
out. We're
we're
gonna
all texting each other to pull him
we're
in
like,
that
pull
one.
this bum. And
Yeah,
he's like, you know what? I'm gonna
Great.
stick, I'm gonna get to overtime, and boom,
and
what
yeah,
happens?
yep,
That's
that's
a
a great point.
great comparison, Nick.
Yep.
Love that. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Wow. So yeah, Dallas is sent packing again. I believe that's the third straight season where they've lost in the third round. So they're still figuring out how to get over that hump. I don't know what this offseason is going to look like for them, but
Jamie Benn, where you at?
yeah, that was a rough performance. You know who did show up? Elite NHL goaltender Stuart Skinner, which I'm so excited to talk about him in the Stanley Cup final preview. But before we move on to that, Mac, you said before the show started, switching over to the East, you had a strong opinion on the Paul Maurice, Rod Brindamore uh, handshake line comments.
I do. I mostly just have seen a lot of stuff on Twitter that I don't agree with. The biggest take is like the Leafs fans who are still butthurt about losing to the Panthers trying to spin this and make it about them and be like, it's because, like, I literally saw a guy on Twitter today, still talking about this today, by the way, on Twitter, saying, like, yeah, and he was dead serious. The reason why Paul Maurice didn't shake hand or, like, asked Rod not to shake hands in that series is because he didn't want to shake a few specific Leafs player hands. And so now he needed to like back that up and defend like and make it look good or something like that. And I was like, how delusional do you have to be as a Leafs fan to make this about you guys? That is
That's a
so
stretch,
crazy.
man. That is a stretch.
I
Uh,
respect the dedication.
but in general, I actually kind of like his take on it. I mean, I get where Rod's coming from too. He had a comment today or the other day where he was like, "There's some former Canes that like I would have liked to shake hands with and like have a meaningful like word with or whatever." And I could see that, but I do totally understand Paul's sentiment. I think it makes a lot of sense. I also do wonder like if we could trace back when the coaches actually started doing it. Because he made a comment that he thinks it could have been like some coach you wanted like more attention or something that started doing it in the first place. And I wouldn't even be surprised if he's right about that.
Yeah, that's a great point. I wonder like who started that and why my mind just assumes it's Scotty Bowman because he did everything else. But
Yeah, right.
yeah, it's like it almost feels like there should be like a handshake at center ice for the players, and then like in front of the benches, like the coaches can like go through one to just be like, hey, good series, coaching against you, whatever, and then boom.
Why don't the coaches, yeah, shake each other's hands over by the benches and then, they can stay put, wait for the players to stop shaking hands. And then if
Yeah.
there's a specific guy you want to go shake their hand, go for it. Or fuck, I don't know, Rod, if you're that butthurt about talking to a fucking couple of Canes guys, call them up. You've got their number.
Yeah,
Like,
text
give
them,
them,
dude.
yeah, whatever, dude. Like, I don't know. I don't think that, I think Paul's best point in that whole soliloquy that he gave was basically saying like after you lose a series, especially a tough one in game seven or overtime or whatever it is, you don't want to shake really anyone's hand probably. And the last thing you want to do is shake like some random like equipment manager's hand at the end of the like you're just like, bro, like fucking leave me alone. Like,
Yeah, I see the point.
yeah.
I agree with the point. I think the timing of it was probably a little.
Yeah.
If I'm Rod
Yeah.
Brindamore, I'm punching Paul Maurice in the face after that. swept you 2 years ago. Then he
Uh,
takes you down in five in this one, and then he alphas you after the game by saying, "Hey, we shouldn't shake hands." And I'm just like,
I mean,
I don't know.
it is like, yeah,
It's wild,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
but
kind of like
kind of
the
awesome
adult
though.
version of giving him a swirly, basically. It's like, yeah,
pretty
no,
much.
just not going to happen.
Yep.
Paul Maurice says he's got a way with the media, man. I give him that. He's entertaining to listen to as a guy who doesn't really care about the Panthers necessarily. Um, but that about does it for our thoughts, comments on the conference finals. But now we get to move on to what should be, I'm going to call a legendary series. I feel like the sequels have never let us down in this instance. The Oilers and the Panthers meeting again for the second year in a row in the Stanley Cup Finals, but this time Edmonton gets home ice, which I think is a nice little twist. And we've got McDavid versus what could be a dynasty at this point. That's really what the storylines are saying. I gotta ask you guys first before we talk about the odds and who we think is going to win. As a fan of hockey, and there's no wrong answer, who are you rooting for? Who do you want to win?
Game 7.
That's not the
True.
question, Nick. I
That's
need
what
to
I'm
know
rooting for.
I want to know who you want to win.
The Panthers. And as a fan of hockey, let me tell you why. Besides the fact that I don't like McDavid or the Oilers, um, I just think that as a fan of hockey, and I'm sorry, Oilers fans, if you're listening, I just think like blowing up what's going on in Edmonton would be so much more fun for the league than him winning in Edmonton. And I also think that the Canadian Cup curse is good for the sport. I legitimately think it is good for the sport.
It keeps it fun, right?
I think it has been good for the sport. It's going to have to end eventually, though, right? We know this
Yeah,
can't go on.
When the former Atlanta Thrashers win
Become
their
the
cup to
team that
break it.
brings
Yeah.
brings Canada a Stanley Cup.
God willing.
That would be amazing. Yeah, so I have no idea which way this one's gonna go, like I said before, and genuinely I am literally split 50-50 down the middle in my heart of who I want to win this Stanley Cup. I think it would be, you know, if I'm looking back on this 20 years from now, yeah, it'd be a great story if McDavid does it. We all know that this is going to be the thing with this guy. He can't be considered one of the all-time greats until he wins at least one of these. And honestly, I think it's going to need to take multiple if you want to put him up there against 99, 4 cups and every record under the sun. So yeah, it's something that he's desperately got to do. And in my head, I'm just saying to myself, there's no way, right? There's no way he
I
can
know.
lose this in back-to-back years, right?
I know. I feel the same
I
way.
think
I
there's
don't
a few ways.
No, but like I know that, but just in
But
like,
yeah, I
I'm
get
just
you. I
like,
get you.
in Mr. Bettman's, red book, I just imagine that thing
Yeah,
opening to the final page and it's Connor McDavid holding the Stanley Cup. So,
right.
um,
Wait a minute. His red book?
there you go. Um,
I
yeah,
don't
I feel like I'm leaning Panthers a little bit in my heart, but I
okay.
I don't know.
So here's the thing that I'm conflicted by, and I'm kind of venting. I don't really, as I'm saying this out loud, I kind of like don't know why I'm somewhat rooting for the Oilers because I don't really like McDavid. I don't dislike him. I'm just like, yeah, like okay. I have a fragile ego about the Sid comparisons that are going to come if he does win a cup.
Right.
And I do agree with you, Mac. The Canada curse is hilarious to me, and I do think it makes a good storyline. So why in my heart am I like, yeah, the Oilers are going to win?
I Let's just get the Sid thing out of the way now. I think he would need to get 2-3 before you're actually making a
Oh, for sure.
legitimate comparison. So even if he does get one now, I think you're fine.
I
Yeah, I
also
guess
the reason that I said I don't like McDavid, to me, he is the anti-Ovechkin. He is
he is.
literally
Yeah.
the opposite of flashy, excited. Like I know he's obviously fun to watch because what he does on the ice is like incredible.
Insane.
And like I'm not gonna sit here and tell you it's not insane when I watch him like dog walk an entire team and like score a crazy goal. Like it obviously is really cool. But like I just don't like his persona. It's boring to me. I think it's bad for hockey to have the best player in the league be so like
Mike Trout.
reserved. I just think it. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Mike Trout.
exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you.
He's
Trapped in a
created in a
market.
lab.
He's
Yeah.
trapped in a market that no one really like
Fucking
thinks about.
celebrate your goal, loser, dude.
Yeah.
Like, let's fucking go. Holy shit.
Have a beer, buddy.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, honestly, like I sort of agree with you, Mac. Like Ovi probably had a beer gut by the time he was 13. The guy could probably take a bite out of a two by four and like the two by four would split in half. But like, yeah, McDavid has probably not had like a carb tick over his limit since the time he was 14 and the power skating coaches and the shooting coaches and all that stuff. So I see what you're saying. I understand the sentiment.
So we move on from who we're rooting for to who we actually think is going to win and where we're going to put our money. And it's funny because the series odds when it opened was a pick 'em. It has slightly shifted, probably in part to some of the Barstool influencers who are going nuts. But we've got Edmonton now as a slight series favorite at minus 120. Panthers slight underdogs at plus 100. You get the Panthers at plus money. It's kind of hard
Yeah,
to.
that's kind of what I'm thinking.
That's a great point.
I mean,
Harry,
listen.
are you
Go
doing
ahead.
it this year?
Yeah.
I will be betting on the Edmonton Oilers to
Oh
win the
Okay.
my
Stanley Cup.
God.
So congratulations to the Florida
Right,
Panthers
right, right. And
for
let me tell you
repeating.
why. Because listen, they are the more complete team. There's no arguing that. They are the more complete team. They have more reliable goaltending by far. We don't know what Stuart Skinner we're going to get.
Hmm.
I think there's a high chance we see Calvin Pickard at some point in the Stanley Cup
God damn
final.
it.
Um, I also just want to point out the coaching. I just think Paul Maurice is going to find a way to get that team to win another one. Knobloch, I mean, he's stepped in and done an insane job to turn them around right from that horrible start they had. But he's only in what is this his second year now of I
Yeah.
mean, he hasn't even had 2 full years as the Edmonton coach. I just think Paul knows how to beat this team
Let
the
me ask you
same way he
this.
did a year ago.
So if Paul Maurice gets this done, wins another Stanley Cup, is he a better coach to you than John Cooper?
So I've heard a lot of this. Yeah.
Well, we were already talking about it before he did, like at the beginning of this postseason.
Right. I
Changed
say
everything.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Yeah.
And I'll hit you with one of these. Who goes down as the better goalie all time, Vasi or Bob? Because they'll
Oh,
both have
that
the
one I don't know if we're
they will have the same amount of
cups.
cups,
Yep.
and I think Vasi will have one more finals appearance for whatever that's
Bob's
worth.
got those two Vesnas that are like, what, 7 years apart though?
Right. It's pretty interesting to think about.
Bob has had a way more like
Up and down.
jumpy career for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Vasi struggled at the beginning, but Bob was on some genuinely awful hockey teams.
Yeah.
True. That is that is also a fair point. And Vasi, you could say he's like a good team merchant. He's really never played for like a dog shit. Well, I guess maybe in those
Eh,
early days, the Lightning had a couple of rough years, right? But
I don't know.
I
I
wouldn't call them dog shit though. Like
no,
I'm thinking
nowhere
like
near
that,
how bad like CBJ was at
or
Philly,
like
that or
the
Philly.
2011
Yeah.
Flyers is what
Yes,
I'm thinking of.
exactly. 100%.
horrendous.
100%.
Yeah, I'm going to be betting the Oilers to win the Stanley Cup. Let's just get it out there right now. I don't know
Just
how
straight
many,
up, like you're just gonna
just series minus
okay.
120, and I'll
Yeah.
probably end
Wow.
up trying to double dip in some of these games. Like if they go down in game one, I'll probably bet them game two. But yeah, I'm going
Gotcha.
straight up series market here. I don't know how many units. I'm
Right.
debating doing something irresponsible. We'll see. I'm not sure, but I
Do it.
I sent you guys a tweet today from Penguins writer Josh Yo, and I thought it summed it up perfectly. And this is kind of my
It did.
thoughts as
This was
well.
good. Yeah.
For those who haven't seen it, this is what he said. He said, "You're a fool if you think anyone is stopping Connor McDavid, but you're also a fool if you think anyone is beating the Panthers. Therein lies the problem. McDavid just has that look right now. Brilliance in its prime, but Florida might be an all-time great team. Cats in seven."
I feel like the Oilers are kind of like a WWE event right now. So stay with me here. It's like you've kind of got this like great storyline going on. You've got the guy you're going there to see. You've got, and then the other guy you're there to see, your McDavid, your Draisaitl. And then out of nowhere, you start to, hey, this guy's pretty good. I like following his storyline. You've got your Adam Henriques picking up points along the way, your Corey Perrys and everything. And it's like, oh no, there's a heart-wrenching twist in the story. Zach Hyman's done for the year. Wait, whose music is that? It's Matthias Ekholm. Boom, he's back. It's like I feel like they just keep like popping guys out of nowhere. Like they did it with Evander Kane at the start of the postseason, and
Yeah,
it just seems like they really have that next guy up mentality that they have not had in years past.
it is true. It does. I will admit, it seems a little bit like a different vibe in that locker room. Like you guys see the video of like Connor Brown popping out of the like equipment locker to read the lineup, just shit like that. I feel like they weren't doing even last year. Um, last year they had the McDavid thing. They were too business.
Yeah,
They weren't having any fun in that locker room.
and they were entirely reliant on him to do stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a mess. It was too tense. There was no like loose anything in there. And that is the one piece of doubt kind of creeping into my mind about my Panthers prediction is it does seem like they're a little looser, a little more like, come on, let's freaking do this, but let's have fun. Like, I don't know. We'll see.
Did you guys see? It might have been after game. I think it was after game five of the conference finals. I can't remember which reporter asked it to McDavid, but they asked him like, "Is there a difference between the team this year and last year?" And he said, "Last year was so up and down. We were kind of new to this." I'm paraphrasing here, but I remember he did say this. He goes, "I don't want to say this year's been boring, but we kind of know what we're doing. Like,
Mhm.
that is in they've
Yeah.
been there, done that." And I don't know if you guys have realized this. They're 12-2 since going down 2-0 to LA.
Yep.
Like they're just rolling teams.
Yeah. I
But
don't think
yeah,
that'll
that's fair.
happen against the Panthers. That's obviously going to come to a standstill at some point. The
Yeah.
thing that like jumps into my head though is I feel like we're kind of forgetting how crazy of a Stanley Cup final last year was. Like we were all ready to
Yeah.
write it off as like this most boring thing ever, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden the Oilers get themselves to game seven. It's just like, could it get even crazier this year? I don't know how.
I will say, like, if there's one bet, and I don't even know if this is a bet, but if there's a way to just place the largest sum of cash imaginable on the series to go at least 6 games, I
Yeah.
I think that is a lock.
That I believe that is a wager. I will look that up
Like
real time in
without
a
picking a
second.
winner, you could just I think you
Yeah.
can.
No, you
Yeah.
definitely can. You definitely can. The
And
one
as
thing I'm
soon as
trying
I get to the state of Maryland, I
Your
and
account gets flagged in 15
yeah.
minutes because you placed like 95 bets.
Mhm.
I'm trying to what am I? I'm trying to see when the last time the Oilers lost at home was. Because they do have home. It was that game three crazy game against Vegas where
Oh,
okay. And I believe, yeah, that might be the only one they've lost. Am I reading this right? They only lost one home game? That's insanity. Yeah, they're insane on at home ice. So
meanwhile, Oilers fans have found something to fight each other about every home game, regardless of the
Exactly.
result.
Yeah.
What the
also
fuck is up with that?
also fair.
Alberta.
I guess.
Let's talk about Conn Smythe for a second because I always get a
It's
Mm.
kick out of
over.
this.
What are you talking about? It's over.
I have a theory.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think if the Oilers win it, I could completely see Leon getting it instead of Connor.
Corey Perry.
I don't know if
Oh,
they'll. Yes, it, I
that'd
hear
be
you.
cool. That'd be
I'm
kind
just
of
not
cool.
sure that like in
If
terms
he
of
bags one overtime game winner in this Stanley Cup final, do you give it to him?
I don't know. It's gonna take a lot to not give it to Connor or Leon. I feel like if they win it, I'm gonna actually see. Let's get some odds here. But Mac, what do you think of that?
I mean, it would be cool, but I don't think. I mean, Perry's got,
Oh, he's got some long fucking odds.
Yeah.
yeah, because he's got. I'm pulling this up here. I mean, he's only got 10 points. That's
Yeah, that'd be
nowhere
kind of
near
wild.
True.
enough.
He'd have to
That's
snap, but he's plus 50,000 if you
oh my God.
if you really want to do
Might be
that.
worth $10. Why not, boys?
$1 wins 501 bucks.
Yeah, I will be
So
doing that. Absolutely.
I'll just read off the favorites for this. So
Yeah, let's hear
obviously,
that.
Connor's the favorite, plus 110. Bobrovsky second, plus 250. Barkov third, plus 550. Leon fourth, plus 750. I think for Leon, he's only got one less point than Connor through the playoffs. There's a very strong chance he could snap and maybe take this home.
Hmm.
If the Oilers lose, does he get it 2 years in a row?
I don't think so.
I don't think you can do that 2 years in a row.
I don't think he can do it 2 years in a row, and I do
I think
honestly
Panthers
think
fans would absolutely riot.
I don't think, I mean, he's also only got 6 goals, I think. Like, I know he's got 20 assists or something like that, but
last
uh,
year was different. Yeah, it's
yeah, it
not.
was, it was on some like ridiculous shit where you almost couldn't not give it to him. Um,
What
I,
Panther do you guys think would win it?
I think Bob, I mean, obviously, but if I had to pick someone else, who did you say was highest up on there? Barkov. I mean, that's probably
Barkey.
right.
I
That's
would
a
probably,
safe
Um,
bet.
I'd probably pick Barkey.
and Barkov's got 17 points. Do you think anyone like, do you think there's any worth in throwing $5 on somebody like Bouchard or Nugent Hopkins? Like
I could
Nugent,
see Nuge is a good one, especially
Nuge
when you
has
like,
18 points and he's been pretty clutch. Like I feel like a lot of his
yeah,
goals have been really huge for them. Like he's a guy that what you said about Perry, like if he gets
yeah,
a crazy OT winner, like in game 6 or something, like
or just
I
like 3 goals throughout this series. I think
yeah,
that's probably
yep.
a fair case for him.
Yeah, I think that one could be worth a sprinkle. Um,
I don't think guys like going back over to Florida. I don't think guys like Verhage or Kitchuk have enough right now. And I know people are gonna hate that because everyone wants Matthew Kitchuk to win everything on the internet right now. But
yeah, I
yeah, that's
mean
just not gonna happen.
Bennett has the most goals out of
Right.
anyone in the whole postseason. He's got 10, and which seems low. Like there's been a ton of like
Been spreading it around this
spread the
year.
wealth across all the teams, I guess. But to your point, like it's not even worth throwing it on him because he's got 10
Right.
goals, but he's got what 5 assists or something, maybe. Like it's
So
not good
Nick
enough.
or Mac, to go back to your point earlier about betting how many games this can go like over,
Yeah.
6 or more, I guess. I can't find one for 6 or more, but you can predict or you can bet on exact number.
Okay.
Six games and 7 games are both plus 200.
Okay.
Five
Fair.
games plus 270, 4 games plus 600.
Yeah, I mean, in that case, I'd probably just throw like maybe like 2 units on 6, 2 on 7, something like
Yeah,
that.
Yeah.
ish. There's
Yeah.
some really fun props in here, I can't lie. For someone to score a hat trick in this series, plus
Ooh.
160.
That's it?
Yeah.
That ain't juicy enough for me to take that shit.
I
Any
feel like that should
game,
start with a 4.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Same.
any game to have 10 or more goals scored in it,
Huh?
plus 115.
What? That's it?
Combine, yeah. There's gonna
I
with
guess there
Edmonton,
will be.
10 goals
Yeah.
in a Stanley Cup final game,
It's
though?
the
Like,
final, though. Like, Vegas
Stewart.
doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
good point.
I mean,
Stuart
that will
Skinner.
probably happen, I guess, but
Oh, here's a fun one. Any game to reach double overtime, plus
Wow.
340.
I mean,
Okay,
I fucking
now,
hope, I fucking
now,
want it
now
so
we're
bad,
talking. That's
but
that's that's some odds I can live with. Yes, and I would hope at least 2 of these games as a neutral go to overtime. But
double. I mean, we'll be lucky if we get one, but I
yeah,
fucking hope so.
I'm trying to see. I don't know. Some of these series market ones are way too complicated to understand. But long story short, it's gonna be a fun series. What do you think about in terms of like you think we get a high scoring series because Edmonton's in it? It's like okay, Stuart Skinner like experienced the full ride, or are we gonna get tight Stanley Cup final traditional
I
type game?
think I think we'll get a Bob shutout.
ooh,
Oh, I need to see if there's a
I
let me
think
see
we'll
if there's
get
one of
one.
those.
Yeah, I think we'll get one Bob shutout.
Okay, Nick, do you have a bold prediction?
I'm gonna say at least one, hopefully 2 go to overtime.
Okay. What's a bold prediction that I would have? Do you think we get a fight?
Not a full blown.
Like
Um,
dropping mitts, like
Has there
Kane
been
Bennett?
any full-on fights in this postseason? I feel like I haven't seen any.
I feel like in the early rounds.
the one in the bench between Tom Wilson and
Yeah.
Josh
Well, I
Anderson.
get,
Well,
yeah, but
Sorry, I forgot someone. And the referee, he was involved as well.
yeah,
my brain's so fried from this playoffs, I truly can't remember.
yeah, I
I
But
don't
get. I'm
think
sure.
so.
Yeah, there's probably something, but
I
all right,
would an actual fight between like I feel like it would have to be like Bennett and Perry. Like I don't know if Evander Kane's going to do that coming
Marchand.
off injury. Marchand's not going to throw him.
Marchand won't throw him. Who
No.
who else on Edmonton? Ekholm wouldn't do it. Maybe Nurse or Trent Frederick.
Yeah. Speaking of Nurse, I mean, it was. Did you guys see? I know this is going way off track, but that slash to the ankle of Rupe Hintz in that
Yeah,
conference final
his
series.
Oh,
foot.
I'm
He
yeah.
fractured
amazed.
his foot.
I'm amazed he was able to walk after that. That was some 80s hockey right there.
He
Yeah.
fractured his damn foot. Okay. Who's gonna win? How many games? I feel like I'll start because I've already kind of
I'm
leaked
going
it, but
last.
I'm go take a big swing. I'm gonna go Edmonton in seven. They get it done on home ice. It's the third time in the last 40 years that there's the same two teams in the finals back-to-back years. Gretzky did it against the Islanders, lost one year, won the next. Crosby did it, lost against Detroit. Next year, came back, won it. It's just like the script writers are putting it in front of you that this is going to happen, and I'm not gonna go against it.
I will go against it. Meow meow. Cats in six.
Oh, home ice again.
Yes, sir.
Feel like I've been looking for a sign this whole episode, this whole season for who's going to win the Stanley Cup final, and I think I found one. I got a package a couple months ago from our friends over at HKY Jersey, and what did they
Mm,
send me? A Leon
Mm,
Draisaitl Edmonton Oilers jersey. I'm going to go
true.
Oil in six
Wow.
oh, on the road.
on the
Okay.
road.
Okay.
Love it. Damn. By the way, I'll trade you my Brandon Tana of Seattle if you're open to it.
Yeah,
You
that'll
got to
be.
keep that. I feel like that's kind of cool.
Eh,
Are you still not sold on it or no?
it's all right. I think the Leon one is sick.
Okay.
It's not a McDavid one, so it's
You
like
know I'm
okay,
always
it's
down to
not.
trade, so make me an offer.
I'll see what else is in the closet. Maybe I'll throw in a two for one because I feel like one for one it's not worth it for you yet.
Yeah, it's still a Fanatics thing, so it's not the end of the world. Also, I'm not an Oilers fan by any means, so
Right, I feel like if anyone on this show is gonna have an Oilers,
right, it would make
yeah,
sense.
True.
I
Yeah.
gotta I gotta don that. But
Yeah, plus it's like touching elbows with like my sick ass Damon Langkow Calgary Flames sweater, so we can't have that.
Yeah.
game one predictions, any immediate? I know people listening on Wednesday morning. Game one will be tonight when you're listening to this. What are we
Yeah,
thinking?
fuck it. 3-0 Cats. That'll be the Bob shutout.
Wow.
Damn.
No goal first 10 minutes.
Oh,
That
see,
should be
I've
a good
been
one.
I've
That
been
should be a good
loving that
one.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh I think it's gonna be a barn burner on the game one, if I'm being honest. I in my gut, Nick, not to go against you because I love no goal first 10, but
Right.
I'm feeling like a 6-4 kind of vibe.
Ooh, a little
I think
back
we
and forth.
yeah, I think the boys are horny to get the finals going.
I
I
could
think
also
Edmonton.
see road team scoring first in game one.
Mm,
Yep.
mm.
I can see that.
What anything else that we should cover on these finals before we kind of wrap up? It's weird having an episode where you only talk about two teams. Feels
Who's got the
foreign.
better look? This is a
Oh,
fashion podcast. Come on, who's got the better
Oh,
sweater?
dude, that's not even close.
it's the Oilers. I
It's the
mean,
Absolutely.
if
Oilers.
they were still sporting these bad boys
That's a good point,
that
Mac.
I'm wearing, if you're watching on YouTube, it'd be
Yeah.
different. I will say, though, for some reason, the Cats home jersey bothers me so much more than their away jersey.
Yeah.
The white I can live with. It's not my favorite, but I don't really have a problem with. The red one, it looks so bad to me every time they're wearing it.
Yeah.
I think maybe because we grew up in like the Reebok apron jersey era, I kind of just expect away sweaters to be kind of meh I mean, there's some great ones out there like the Red Wings, the
Right.
Blues. You could throw the Flyers in there. I won't, but um,
Hmm.
like, yeah, I'm in total agreement with you. If they were still rocking the one you have on,
Yeah.
the white one of
Oh, the
that,
white one of this is
oh my
so good.
God.
It's
Oh,
so
with the
good.
like the red numbers with like the yellow
Yes.
stitching. Oh
Oh,
my
it's
God.
fantastic. Yeah, I gotta
Unbelievable.
get me one of those.
It's not
You
an
know what?
EB episode if we don't talk about
If
sweaters.
they win, I might just buy one.
Oh,
Edmonton has a great classic look.
Yeah.
it's
No,
iconic.
their
You
They've
can't
never
jerseys
ever
are,
changed it.
yeah.
change that.
No, it's
Although I
perfect.
will say those like you remember in like 2006 when they did like the navy blue.
Yeah,
I did kind of like
Yeah.
that one.
the
Yeah.
Ryan Smith shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was good.
Well, welcome back. It's been a couple weeks off, but we've got the Stanley Cup Finals kicking off. We will not go MIA on this one. We'll be back probably either after game 2 or 3. We'll keep you all posted online. But uh, me and Nick are rocking with the Oilers. Matt going with the Cats. I will end the episode with this question because it's a legitimate question at this point, I think. If the Panthers win this, are we going to start using the D word to describe this
Oh,
team?
yeah. I mean, it's already been being thrown around, but if they win it,
I think it's
yes.
fair if they win it. I mean, if we're going to talk about Tampa that way, it's the same exact recipe. Two Stanley Cup final wins, one appearance in the finals that they didn't win. So,
But no Mickey Mouse involved. So
ex-
No, no Mickey Mouse involved. That is true.
I
Uh,
real quick when I was in Charlotte tailgating for the NASCAR race, we're walking into the track and there's this group of guys playing cornhole on Tampa Bay Lightning themed cornhole boards. And as I'm walking by, I just couldn't help myself. I was like, so how's Stammer doing? And just kept
oof,
walking.
that's the liquid courage talking.
that's
Yeah, oh,
good.
big
That's
time.
good.
What'd they
Wow.
say?
Oh yeah, they that well one, good guys. They thought it was hilarious. They're like, he's a
Okay.
bum. He sucks in Nashville now.
Okay, fair
True.
enough. Fair
Fair.
enough. All right.
Last thing I'll say, ladies and gentlemen, I will be in Baltimore this weekend and a little bit next week. I'll be a busy man, but if you're looking to see me, your best bet is probably to just show up to Don't Know Tavern. I might just be watching a Stanley Cup final game there at some point with friend of the program, Ian Powderly, and whoever else wants to roll through. So,
If you let me know when that is, I may
Same.
just in fact roll through.
okay. I haven't figured out which game yet, but I'll be home for I think 3 of them. So I'll
Hell
figure it
yeah.
out.
All right, fellas. Good happy. Good to see you guys. Thank you everybody for listening. Thank you for hanging with us all season. It's kind of bittersweet when we get to the Cup Finals because it's ending, but this is going to be a good one, and I hope and think that this will be a classic. So enjoy the Cup Finals. We'll catch up with you after game 2 or 3. We'll keep you updated.